Warning.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
You know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
All right, now I'm gonna have to do that later because it's still the video's still acting up on the stream. But hey, everybody, welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast where we have bad jokes, we got good folks, and we've got tabletop games. With me, as usual, is my guest host, or my co-host, sorry, wrong one there, Mr. Philip Herbig. How are you doing today?
What's going on, everybody? I don't know. I kind of like being referred to as a guest host. I'm like
the permanent
I'm like
guest
that
host.
doctor in the second season of Next Generation.
Oh, yeah.
Like she was there the whole season. Pulaski, that was her name. Yeah, she was there the whole season, but she was a guest the whole time.
She didn't guess very long. She was out. Also, we've got another person here as well. We have Mr. Brian Ibbott from the podcast Coverville and from the morning stream.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for having me.
So for the for the like 1% of the internet that may not follow any of the frog pants and that related type of shows, so what kinds of stuff? What is Coverville? What is the morning stream?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's I'm sure it's a way bigger divide than that. I'm sure there's a lot of people discovering frog pants shows from here. So Coverville is one of the first ever podcasts, started in 2004. Indie music covers that take existing songs and translate them very differently into the style of the covering artist. Those are the ones I feature on my show. No sound-alikes, no tribute bands, unless they do something different with the music. And then the morning stream is a daily podcast that I do with a guy named Scott Johnson out of Utah. And I'm his Pulaski. We do a daily show that is like a morning radio show without all the obnoxious zoo kind of stuff, the phony phone calls, the dumb sound effects. We have good sound effects. We have smart sound effects, not the dumb sound effects you hear on radio. But yeah, mix of news and pop culture, therapy when you need it, movie reviews, all that stuff at frogpants.com/TMS.
It would have worked out. He was talking about bad sound effects, and I went to hit the fart sound on my soundboard, but then it's like file not found.
Oh no! Oh, I would argue that a fart sound effect is a good sound effect.
So you might be asking, like, what? Why is that's not having to do with games? Well, if you listened to the morning stream, you would know that Brian is a big fan of tabletop games. Of all different kinds, and we will get down to the nitty gritty of that. But first we have the news. And Philip, you wanna do your intro live?
News.
I'm pretty sure the soundboard one wasn't gonna work. So all right. So guess what, guys? I practiced some archery over the weekend. But I couldn't hit my target no matter what I did. Turns out I was using a crisscross bow. But no. So I think we had heard about this, rumors of it in the past, but they recently put out a press release that, and they're pushing for their new Kickstarter. So Restoration Games launches a new version of Crossbows and Catapults. So they've already got a backer kit landing page going for this, so I expect this to go real soon. But Philip, this is one of those games that we looked at, we saw, and we're unfortunately not enough to know the original version.
Yes.
But we saw the plans for this game, and it looks amazing. Brian, did you ever play the original Crossbows and Catapults?
I didn't. This is the first time I'm seeing it, and but the box art looks amazing. Oh my god! So it's actually got
So they are actual catapults. Yep.
Where do I send my money? This looks amazing. I want this.
I was trying to find one of the other. I of course I picked the wrong news article, but one of them had it was This image is actually pretty good. So there'll be blocks that you set up to make castles. To make, each team will make a castle, and then you will launch little plastic discs, or at least it looks like plastic disc at them to try and to tear them apart. I was trying to find a better thing, and they got on here like the catapult built-in spring action for more consistent power.
This looks amazing. Oh, I love games like this that have a big physical aspect to this. Totally looks amazing.
And it seems like, so what they've done this in the past where they made the Kickstarter for like the big hobby version, and then like a couple years later they'll make the Target version. They did this with Fireball Island. This time they're announcing it kind of up front, that there's going to be a mass market version called Crossbows and Catapults Castle Battle. That's going to be like $30, and the hobby version is going to be Crossbows and Catapults Fortress War, and it's going to have much more advanced gameplay, which it should for $90, and contain a wider variety of bricks, ammo, and units. See if I can get maybe the BGG page. I saw so many great pictures, and I just happened to pick the news story that did not have of course. Yeah.
Of course, no photos.
No photos, yeah. The catapult's what you get.
Wow.
I may have to find that. I'll have to find that later. But yeah, this looks great. It's one of those games that like you're going to set it up, and then you're going to get people, like if you're at a game store playing this, everyone's going to start gravitating to you because they're going to be like, what is going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a crowd generator, and everybody's going to be wanting to play it.
Yeah, it's one of those you probably won't even necessarily play it by the rules. People will just like flicking stuff at the walls.
Oh yeah, it's going to be. I mean, you're gonna start. I'm picturing like a distance mode. It's like 5 feet.
How
back,
far back?
10 feet
Yeah,
back,
like,
10 feet. Yeah.
well, you
How
hit
far
it.
back can we get this?
Every time it's like horse. If you can.
Yes.
You have to set them up in different areas and try and hit the wall. And if you don't, you get an. Or if you do, and somebody else doesn't do it, they get like an H.
Right.
Rusty Beetle in the chat says my brother had this and was good at it. I always lost. It says no one else owned this. Am I that old? You just got to remember
we're not going to say old, Beetle. We're going to say seasoned.
Yeah,
seasoned.
There you go.
There we go.
Like a fine wine. So it looks like Hoser 40K is in your boat too. But so moving on, I found a way to weaponize insects the other day. I call them worms. Hey, you guys remember Worms, the video game? It's being turned into a board game. In this week's episode of Video Game Gets Turned into Board Game.
Yeah, Worms.
They were like, hey, what about Worms? What if Worms is a board game? And which is funny because now that I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, we just featured what Worms the board game's going to be. It's that Crossbows and Catapults.
Yeah, that's what it's really what it's
that's
looks
what
like it should be.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So there's no details. There's not a lot of details on this. It just all we know is that it's from Mantic Games, who is a big miniatures game company. A lot of it's from they're from Nottingham over in England. They're basically Mantic Games was a bunch of Games Workshop employees that after they stopped working at Games Workshop, they made their own company. So they have like Kings of War, which is like their version of Warhammer. They did the Walking Dead minis game, like the actual tabletop miniatures game where you'd roll dice and move and try and take out the other survivors. That one was really cool because it wasn't like it was you versus other survivors, and the zombies were just there as like hazards.
Mm-hmm.
But so one thing we know for sure is it's probably going to have a lot of minis, considering Mantic's going to have that. Mantic will work with Worms, so they are working with the developer Team 17 to translate Worms' familiar gameplay to the tabletop. So
there's
those
22.
There's 22 games.
There's 22 games in the main Worms series.
That actually doesn't surprise me because like a couple years ago, I wanted to like get the latest Worms, and there was like 4 of them within like the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with Worms is, it's basically a very goofy game where everyone plays tiny worms trying to shoot and kill the other worms. It's been implemented. Even Worms wasn't the first at it. I remember that same basic gameplay was in a game called Tank Wars, where it was like adjust your angle and adjust your power, and that's how far like the blast goes. But just Worms was kind of like the goofy, chaotic version of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you've basically got the magnificent seven of Worms, and this one's got a machine gun, and this one's got a rocket launcher, and you just got to take your turns aiming, and then did everybody fire at once, or was it still
no, it was turn-based.
It's still turn. Yep.
Right.
So it was like Rusty Beal says, I grew up on Scorched Earth, which was the original Worms. So yeah, exactly. Like there's a worm right here in a display case. I don't know if this is like an example of what it would be, because it's definitely large for a mini, judging by the person in the background. But yeah, Hoser 40K also says, I want to see the worm minis. That is the one thing. Like that's what could you like, I'm not overly enthused at it, but seeing some worm minis might change my mind on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is probably your baby barbarian from 5 Minute Dungeon type thing. Like early backer prize.
Oh, you mean like a promo thing?
Yeah,
honestly,
promo,
I think this
that's
is just a teaser. I think this is just a teaser image. They're like, hey, who's got a resin printer that's big enough to print something that's like a foot tall?
Right. Which is cool. I mean, that thing looks great. If the mini is just going to be a small version of that, totally fine. Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's I could see them making because I mean, Worms itself had a bunch of different goofy characters, but they could pull like the CMON route of we're gonna make legally distinct version of like popular characters, but
existing
make
IPs.
them
right,
make them worms. Like this is totally not Indiana Jones. This is South Dakota Jones.
Yeah, Captain Wormerica. Yeah, sure.
Oh, among the signature ornaments are going to have the Holy Hand Grenade, Exploding Sheep, and its Flying Super Sheep variant, Concrete Donkey, Handy Ninja Rope, and the Classic Bazooka. You can just punch rival worms off of cliffs and watch them slide into the deadly water surrounding each map. That's the other piece. It's like, because one of the other big things about Worms was the destructive terrain and how like you just be floating on like a pixel, but they didn't kill that pixel, and so you're just still standing there, and it's just
if
like
you move, you drop.
Exactly.
And die, but yeah.
So it's like, how do you do that in a board? You'd have to have a whole bunch of plastic terrain or something that like you could remove out or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of plastic terrain, we'll get to that later. Next up, if they have someone from the military lead a NASCAR race, is that considered a pace marine? So the board game based off the video game based off the board game, Space Marine the board game, coming to a Target shelf soon. I was just sitting there thinking, I was at the game store talking, like, hey, they're making a Space Marine board game, and they're like, as everybody's assembling their Space Marines, going like, what are you talking about? Like they already have one. But this is based on so everyone's gearing up for the Space Marine 2, the video game coming up in that new property, which I think comes out in like July or something like that.
The gameplay trailer looks rather awesome.
I've been hearing a lot of people psyched about it, but now they're coming out with a board game based on the video game called Space Marine the board game, which will be an exclusive to Target, at least in the beginning. It's going to contain 23 push-fit miniatures. So one of the big aspects that people will buy this box, if not for the actual game, is it's going to come with a Lieutenant Titus mini, which they haven't made a mini. So Lieutenant Titus is the main character in the Space Marine series, and they haven't made a standalone mini for him yet, but there will be one in this box.
Oh, wow.
So
you'll get the diehard 40K players still buying this just for that.
Exactly. I've already heard of some people that are like, well, I'm going to have to buy that and paint it up. But
So this sounds pretty cool. Like it's a kind of like the Catan Light or Catan Junior for people who maybe eventually want to get into Settlers of Catan, right? Like this could be your gateway into actual 40K.
exactly. And there's so
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Although knowing me, it's going to keep breaking off of this rock base.
Yeah,
because
right,
anything fragile like that always seems to break for me. But yeah, basically it's just going to be one player plays the Space Marine and the other player plays like 20 something
22 Tyranids.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. So and they're all going to be pre-painted. So no
is that
gray.
what it said?
It sure looks like it. It looks like these
I would doubt it. I bet that's probably just
Oh, you think it'll come unpainted?
I think it'll come unpainted.
For a Target thing? Okay. It'd be cool if it does. I mean that's another
because it's push
push
fit, so you're gonna have to assemble it yourself. And if it's already assembled or if it's already disassembled, then I doubt that they would paint it on the because chances are it'll probably be on the sprue still. You just easily pop them out and like push it together.
Right.
So yeah,
Wow.
I would bet this coming unpainted.
That's cool.
So people will buy a $50 box for a single GW mini. Say it ain't so.
Right.
So it's for those of you that actually care about the board game, it comes with a double-sided game board, a 40-page rule book, including backstory. Oh, so this is your classic 40K. It's getting you in Everone. Because even the rule book has like the like 20 pages of lore and then the actual like 2 pages of rules and then a bunch of training missions and stuff.
Right.
We're getting them quickly teased up, and now the chat room's asking how quickly they'll sell out because the new 40K starter box pre-ordered this weekend and immediately sold out. I got mine though. That's all I care about.
Nice.
So, Brian, did you ever play the Space Marine one or
I didn't.
Or you
No,
the second one?
I've never dipped my toe into anything 40K. I think it just feels, or any Warhammer, not just 40K, but any Warhammer. It just feels like that's such a deep ocean. That, just the thought of like, all right, where do I start? It's like reading Discworld or something. Like, where the heck do I start with any of this?
Yeah. Well, here you go.
This might be the place.
This is your
might
start.
be the place. Yeah.
And you've already got the painting down. I've seen your stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your Marvel United stuff.
Yeah, it's all a matter of time, right? Because I've got of the Marvel United stuff, I've got a couple dozen of the initial figures painted. Then there's the X-Men expansion. Then there's the multiverse expansion, which of course I haven't received yet, and the Zombicide Marvel.
You did the Marvel zombies.
I did, yeah. So instead of just painting chibi style, I'm going to be painting the little realistic style too. I just lock myself in a room for a month and do nothing but paint.
That's what vacation's for, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, but when am I going to do shows? I've got this podcasting thing that
you could just
locked myself into.
You could just paint while you're podcasting.
Oh, Scott would love that. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say about that? Florida man? What?
The next Coverville is like, oh crap. So this next
Exactly. Oh, I need to hit play. Sorry, here's the song. Yeah. Totally.
So next up, I tried to make a joke for this next story, but I was too shy.
Oh, but I'm pumped.
So there's gonna be $1 million magic card.
I heard about this.
Trading card vendor posts a $1 million bounty for Magic the Gathering serialized One Ring card. And I love that the article I pulled up didn't even use the right picture. They used
of course.
They used the generic picture for
they used the generic one. They didn't use the Elvish.
The Elvish one of one.
Yeah, they didn't want anybody to print it out, cut it out, and then claim that it's the actual one of one the One Ring card.
I heard somebody talk about that was like, how are they going to certify that it's the one? You know, like, are they going to have to like bring in someone for Wizards? Like, is that card got secret hologlyph? You know, is it like your dollar bill where you got to like hold it up to the light?
Oh yeah, it's got certain.
Yeah, it's going to have to, right? Because I mean, for, you know, with $1 million on the line, you can pay to do a lot of holo foil and a lot of you know, doing stuff to make it look like it's legit. So they're going to have some method of verification that folks don't know about.
It's got a radioactive tracker inside of it.
Right, little RFID chip.
Yes.
Something like
Yeah, I can see that totally. Yeah, they know exactly where this thing is.
Yeah.
Which packet's in, which store it's at. Yeah,
Hey,
all that.
They're like,
I made-
it's in box 437
Yeah.
in Montana.
I made jokes.
Right, exactly.
I made jokes about it because I was tempted to go. I was tempted to play. So next weekend is this coming weekend is the pre-release for the Magic the Gathering stuff for the Lord of the Rings. And I was making jokes like, if you just suddenly see me just stand up and walk away, like here's your card. Wait, you haven't got your cards? Nope, I'm good.
Good. Yep. Yeah. Last thing you want to do is say, "Oh my God, I got it," and then you're mobbed like Varuk Assault. With
Unfortunately, they're not going to be in the draft boosters. You have to get the collector's boosters because there's like 4 types of booster packs now. Yeah, case of the Commander boosters are only $400.
Wow.
I said, I saw another tweet that was like, there's 2 things that's going to happen with this. Step 1 is someone's just going to immediately like retail sell it or whatever. Step 2, someone's getting mugged in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this my son and I were talking about this. He's a big Magic the Gathering player. We were talking about this card, and we both decided, like, if you get this thing, you don't announce it. You don't you don't say anything online.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah,
Exactly. You find it. It's
I feel like
a
you don't
lottery
even
ticket.
open it at the store. Like you just take them home and open them in your safe space.
Right. Your panic room. And
Oh.
then,
I've been watching like because it's such a big deal because you're talking about $1 million card. A lot of like commenters online have been talking about it, and I just love watching through them. And one of them was talking about how they should. Well, first of all, that chances are this is probably not getting seeded into a box for like a month or 2 because it's like as soon as that card's found, the set drops off immediately. Like no one's buying. Suddenly sales go down. And then the other idea they had is that if streamers could get it somehow, like how funny would it be to have like a ransom stream where it's like a subathon thing where there's just like a lighter getting slowly closer to it.
Oh.
until like you know, if you don't pay enough money, it's gonna burn.
oh my God, the trolls! Won't somebody please stop the trolls? Yeah.
And I saw this other comment, like Rusted Beetle put it there. Somebody said they would pay the owner a trip to a volcano to throw a kid. I'm like, I would do that. Like if it was filmed the whole time, send somebody to like Iceland to like a volcano or something. Like I would pay money to see someone like actually throw the card in a volcano.
Right.
You know,
I hear
Mr. Beast
in
is going to
Hawaii
find
is
this
doing
card.
it
That's
right
what
now.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, Mr. Beast is going to find the card and be like, I gave her, watch what 100 Magic players will do to get this Magic card.
Yes.
That's right. The new Squid Games over the One Ring. Yeah.
Oh man, it would be like how many of their Magic cards are they willing to tear up in front on camera to earn a shot at this card?
Oh my God. Oh.
Oh man. And yeah, there was a lot of news this week, so I got a couple more stories here. If they made a campaign game about making clothing, would it be called Gloomhaven?
Oh.
And I had to bring this up because I know Brian's a fan of Gloomhaven. They're coming out with second edition Gloomhaven.
Oh wow. I don't have space in my house for 2 of these things.
You mean 3
What
when
does
you
this
got like
do?
did you get Frosthaven?
Oh, the Frosthaven. I did not back Frosthaven.
Oh.
Yeah. Nope. I have a friend who got that one, so we'll go over to his house for Frosthaven, this house for Gloomhaven. I don't know who we're going to find for second edition.
Rustamino said that the One Ring card is going to end up in a bicycle wheel spoke.
Nice.
So getting back to Gloomhaven Second Edition, so they're gearing up for they've got a new backer kit, not Kickstarter, backer kit coming out where they're going to have like the minis of Gloomhaven. So instead of all the standees that you can have, you can have minis for them as well, as if you didn't have it, as if that box was already packed enough.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, the size of like all of the creatures that you currently get as little thin pieces of cardboard.
Yeah.
Having all of those
It's like
in
half
3D,
the
that's
box.
Insane. Yeah. Exactly.
They commented that while Gloomhaven is well loved, I'm not sure anyone would call it perfect. I'm excited to have the opportunity to make this incredible game even better based on what I and the team have learned over the past 6 years. So yeah, it's been since like 2017 since this game's come out. That's what's weird to think about. So the fresh artwork, newly written narrative, and collection of events, as well as updated miniatures, a fresh faction-based reputation system, quote, and more. Oh yes, and the Gloomhaven RPG is in that same backer kit. That's going to be that's coming out in July, I believe, is that one too. I might have been mixing that and the Crossbows and Catapults up. But yeah, so they're going to basically all the kind of like FAQs and all the things that people have been like, well, how does this work? And they're like, well, let's just like tighten up some of those things. It's funny, like if you go on Facebook and look at the announcement that they made, if you click in the comments, there's so many people like, I just bought it yesterday.
Right. And now it's obsolete.
Yeah. So, the only problem I have with this is this seems like the perfect opportunity for them to put in the, like Rusty will say, like the maps in the spiral bound book. Like, have you seen Jaws of the Lion, the way they did it?
Yeah, that's we went back to Jaws of the Lion after 2 or 3 campaigns of Gloomhaven. I had gotten Jaws of the Lion. We're like, oh, well, let's do this. And yeah, the spiral bound map book is fantastic. That's totally the way to do it.
And they mentioned with Frosthaven, because like they had already been like finalizing development of Frosthaven when they came out with that, and everybody loved it. So like, we'll do it eventually. We're not going to do it right now, but it is something on the horizon. But this would be the perfect place to like you can eliminate all that cardboard and have space for the minis.
Right, exactly. Did they ever consider, or have they mentioned doing like a second tier on what did you say it was backer kit?
Yeah.
With STLs instead of minis, like you pay for just the STLs.
I've seen there are companies that do that. I have no idea if they would like Philip. You back to the Deep Rock Galactic one had STLs, right?
Yep. I backed at that level, even though I don't have a printer. So I have the files in an email somewhere.
There are some companies that have been, doing the like STL files for things, especially when like the minis are an upgrade. Like if the game itself comes with standees and you can like add on minis, they'll be like, well, here, just print them yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And it saves them the work of doing it. It saves, and then the person who gets it realizes, wait a minute, I'm printing 11 necromancers of this high detail. Okay, great.
I need 2 more bottles of resin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you realize you paid more than the upgrade price to get the amount of resin and plastic you need.
Yeah. Where's my hollow table? Where's that? When's that coming? That's what I need.
I've been
hollow
asking
table
for that for years.
Oh, hollow as in okay.
Yes. Hologram, as opposed to a hollow table that has nothing in the middle.
Maybe
hologram table.
Maybe now that Apple's going to be having that new Apple Vision thing.
The Vision Pro. Yeah.
Maybe somebody.
Can we just skip straight ahead to the Futurama with the iPhone, where they implant something in your eye? Like, let's hurry up and do that.
Right.
All I'm saying is this: if this becomes a reality and somebody doesn't make a Yu-Gi-Oh game where like the monsters come alive off the cards to look like the anime, we failed at life.
Oh, for sure. Like the old Eye of Judgment.
Eye of Judgment. Yep.
Yes. Oh, those were so great. Yeah.
I was like, all you need is like a little QR code. You just like slide the cards into it. I'm sure if I look, somebody's probably already done this, because it seems like something that could be done.
Probably.
All right. Almost done here. We thought this next game was over, but you can renegade that thought. And that is Renegade Game Studios expands partnership with Hasbro, bringing Heroscape back to the table. So I want to say, was it 6 months? No, it was because it was after Gen Con. So it was like last fall. Hasbro announced that they were bringing back Heroscape to their like Hasbro Pulse, their version of Kickstarter. But the box was super expensive. It was like $280 or something like that. And but it came with like a ton of stuff, but it was just too much and just didn't get enough funding. And eventually they pulled it off. And when they pulled it off, they were like, someone was like, "Oh, are you going to retool it and try and shoot for a different price point or something?" They're like, "Nah, we're good." Like there are no. I think the official quote was like, "There are no plans to. There are no other plans for this IP or something like that."
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up the original Heroscape mostly as a way to make really easy terrain for hero clicks.
Oh yeah.
It was like the right size. It's like, oh, we can just use these, and it was great.
So Renegade Game Studios has announced now that it's expanding its licensing to include the popular tabletop game Heroscape. Yeah, this is October 2022. That was when it was originally came out. But now it's going to bring it back to the hobby, mass, and specialty markets. It'll also work closely with Hasbro Pulse to make the game accessible to a broad audience. It's going to allow fans to relive the classic elements of the game while also introducing all new content, including terrain packs, faction boxes, and more. They plan to launch new models in a range of configurations and price points, catering to both new and dedicated players. And I think that last part is what will help this succeed.
Yes.
The different price points, so that if someone's got all the money, they can throw all the money at it. But if someone's, just like, well, I just want like the basic game so I can relive my Heroscape stuff, then.
Yeah. Yeah, and your $30 Target version.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what they can release again. Yeah.
Yeah. As other Phil in the chat goes, 3D BattleTech terrain, because BattleTech uses hexes, so it's like the perfect size.
Oh yeah, right.
He mentioned partnering with Hobby Source to provide Heroscape and its player community with the best possible home for engaging in battles across Valhalla. I didn't realize Heroscape was supposed to be taking place in Valhalla. I don't remember.
Yeah, neither.
Oh yeah, Heroscape also needs to be offered as STLs. Agreed.
Yeah.
It even if it was just the tiles,
right?
Just give me the tiles as STLs. But I imagine even if Renegade wanted to do that, Hasbro would be like, nope, we're putting the chop on that. We're sending the Pinkertons after whoever came up with that idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's come out with Heroscape compatible hexagonal board pieces that attach to these.
It's called Hero Escape.
Right, exactly. Right. Yep.
I actually trust Renegade Game Studios with this more than I trust Hasbro with it. They do like the Clank. They've even started doing like Axis and Allies, and the all the Vampire the Masquerade stuff. Phillips Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid stuff.
Power Rangers.
By the way, did you see that they announced more stuff for that?
Shut up.
That was I found that out today as I was scrolling through, so it didn't get added to the list.
No, it's okay. I missed the live stream event because I was at work.
Yeah, I know there's a huge aftermarket for Heroscape because the Magic tried to tap back into that because they came out with the Magic Arena of the Planeswalkers, and it was basically Heroscape but with Magic Planeswalkers as the characters, but it only came with like 4 pieces of terrain, and then like it was basically like the board that they came with a board for like level 0, and then you built up like the mountains with these like 4 pieces of terrain. So that's why it didn't do very well, because everyone was like, this is cool, but we want more terrain. And I even remember people talking about they went on eBay to buy more terrain for that game.
Really, just the terrain.
Oh yeah, like buying up old Heroscape stuff. Yeah. Arena had like 5 terrain bits. Yeah,
that's right.
It even included like a little cardboard standy like wall. Like you see, they've got an actual plastic wall. If I remember right, this one had like a cardboard wall instead. Like it was how can we make Heroscape as cheap as possible?
Right.
So, and then last up, I this one I had to talk about, but also it works out because I know, Brian, I know you like your Disney, but it turns out for this company, Disney need some lawyers. Oh, so in case you haven't heard, Ravensburger is coming out with a new TCG trading card game that's called Disney Lorcana. That's basically a Disney CCG, so it's going to have like all the Disney properties, and it had potential. You know, it already has an existing fan base, so there was potential for it to do pretty well. Well, turns out that that may have been a stolen game.
Oops.
So Upper Deck has filed a lawsuit against Ravensburger and the Disney Lorcana, saying that the co-designer stole and copied an original trading card game that they were making. Trying to see, they had it announced there, Rush of Icor. After so the designer of Lorcana had originally worked with the company on a brand new TCG called Rush of Icor after the designer had attended a gaming summit. Ensured that Upper Deck would would own and hold all rights to use whatever created through the summit, as well as require confidentiality from the designer even after termination of the contract. And now he's gone. That designer is over at Ravensburger making Disney Lorcana, which has apparently got like some of the same mechanics and similarities as far as like the Inkwell Influence Zone and questing rating gameplay mechanics. So they are currently trying to put a halt to Disney Lorcana. I think they even put in a court order to stop them from selling the game until this lawsuit gets finalized.
Oh,
So
wow.
we've already had, like the article I've got pulled up, Ravensburger's talked back saying that this is baseless and we're going to be publishing it, on schedule. We don't see this being an issue, but I imagine in the next few months, because I believe Gen Con was the desired launch date for this, and I think they had like a big push, but that could be big for Ravensburger if that ends up getting nixed. But so I imagine the next month or so is going to be really huge in finding out if this ends up going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Ravensburger. Recipedo said Robin's Burger.
Yeah, I'm glad you cleared, because I've always called him Ravensburger, but
I don't. It could be.
Yeah. I like Ravensburger. Well, I like Ravensburger and Ravensburger better.
I'm gonna go Robinson Burger. It's Christopher Ravensburger.
Yeah, right. Ravensburger to pay Paul.
I like it.
Start using that one now.
Yeah. So that's the news. While I see if I can find better crossbows and catapults, Philip, why don't you tell them why they should back our Patreon?
Well, see, so patreon.com/boardsandswords, boardsandswords.com/Patreon. Either link will get you to where you need to go. Not where you want to go. It's where you need to go. All right. You're gonna catch the before and after stuff that we do on the show. The stuff that gets cut. All the stuff from the cutting room floor. He throws that on there. You get little bonus bits. We're now doing a so I say we're thinking about it, and we've done it once and we liked it, so we're gonna do it again. We're calling it the oddball stream. It's the off week stuff. It's just the random crazy
stuff that doesn't work on a podcast
and stuff that doesn't work on a podcast. You know what we're saying? And then so that's just your basic. All right, that's your $1 a month pledge on Patreon to us. All right, you go a little higher, you're gonna send Chris a list of your favorite games, and you are gonna get the best worst dad jokes about those games. Okay, that's a perk for being one of our patrons. You go a little higher, Chris sends a couple of die to you every few years. We've got Boards and Swords D6s. Okay, they're great. Now the Boards and Swords is the 6. I tried to get him to make it the 1. He didn't want to do it. It's fine. It's whatever. And then we've got the special level. Okay, if we can get to $50 a month. Okay, Chris, can you pull that up on the screen there?
Oh, you're talking about
For
yes,
us right
yes.
there. Yeah, we gotta have the visual. Okay, Here we go. I'm watching the screen. It's gonna come up here on
Oh, stupid Apple using different keys.
Control. Yeah.
It's not Control V. That's why it's
Control C, Control V. Come on, we're doing it. That's right. There we go. And then it's coming up on the screen. All right. It is, we are going to gather some of our friends and we're going to play an RPG called Love Mutants of Castle Heartache. And
featuring
it's
Philip
so great.
in this artwork.
Featuring me, okay? I was the model for the cover. It's absolutely phenomenal. And we are going to play that in the Dirtbags of Holding style. So you got to check us out. That's patreon.com/boards and swords, boardsandswords.com/Patreon.
A visit to the mysterious Flesh Pit National Park. Oh, that's an oddball stream reference. By the way, Phil, I think I'm gonna just get this poster printed out in like a giant size.
That's gonna be my background.
And that's gonna I'm gonna have that as your background.
Yes.
So with that, let's turn back to Brian. And so when did you get started playing tabletop games, either as a kid or even recently with some of the more hobby scale?
You know, I've always loved tabletop games, playing, the basics when you're a kid, like Mousetrap and Sorry and Parcheesi, things like that. My mom and I would play those more often than watching TV or whatever. But growing up, getting into kind of the heavier cardboard kind of thing, not quite the really heavy stuff, but things like Ticket to Ride, trying to think of what else was really huge. Catan, yeah, of course, Settlers of Catan. Picked up Clank, was really hoping to play it at the family retreat this last weekend. I brought it with me, could not get the time to do it. I had the interest, people wanted to play it, but we were running here, running there, and by the time dinner was over and we were finishing up the Nuggets game, it was like, no real time to play Clank. So soon, I hope soon. But we did get Codenames, Telestrations played, and those were a lot of fun. Carcassonne, another favorite. And then just getting into lately all the great stuff that they've done with the Marvel IP. Marvel Flux is fantastic. Marvel Remix that came out earlier this year is really good. I picked up but haven't played yet the the Villainous Marvel version.
Okay. Yep.
And then there was a Sinister Six game that I also picked up that still haven't played yet. That, has all the hands of all the.
Spin Master may have done that one.
That may have been the case, yeah. But of course, Marvel United being the most, probably the biggest, as we mentioned earlier, of the collection, and that one we've played quite a few times. Clear out the table, and I let people even play the characters I haven't painted. Yeah, they can pick any character they want. I'm a nice guy.
You're so nice.
Yes. And it just reminds me which ones I need to paint first.
You got to put in your requests early so that I could have it painted for by game day.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me know now.
Here's your menu.
Right. Now you can start learning what the powers are, what the various cards can do. But
Okay, those are cool minis. I'm looking at them.
They really are. They're really well done. If you like the chibi style minis, I think Simon makes some of the best ones out there. And looking forward to getting some more painted so that when the next box comes in, I won't feel like I'm completely buried underwater, buried under gray plastic shame.
Said every 40K person ever.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's, every miniature painter deals with this sort of thing. Lately I've been doing the, not a game per se, but the stage top 3D printing deal, that modular game table that you can set up and take down really easily. This thing is amazing. It's as good as you want to make it, because there are different levels of things you can print. And I wish I had pieces right here that I could show off.
Is that the one that the Kickstarter was I want to say 2-3 months ago?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I featured that in a TikTok or something. That was really cool. Just the idea of
great.
Here it's STLs and you just make your own game table, and then is modular. So it's if you want cup, holders, then here's the cup holder. And...
Exactly. Yeah. Or like a little thing that holds cards in front of certain players, or a dice, dice drop. And it's super modular, compact, goes down to the size of one of those cloth drawers in a IKEA cabinet. Currently printing railings right now. I finished all the tiles. I got a wood filament, printed all the tiles, and need to pick up some stain and some sealant just to make that look really nice. But these things look there. Yeah, there it is right there. That's the one. It's just absolutely amazing. And you can say, all right, well, for Marvel United, for example, I need a 6x6 panel. And so I know exactly how many, there's their example right there. I know exactly how many pieces I need to print. Yeah, there's Marvel. Like
I didn't realize it was the game.
Show Marvel
the game
United.
Shown on there was Marvel United.
Yeah, and you can even see like they've got the little card holders. They've got cups for all the different playing pieces you need for Marvel United. And then you just, when you're done playing, if you want, you take the whole thing apart, or like I'm going to do is I'm going to have it down the basement on another table or lean it up against the wall or something like that. But really,
how sturdy is it?
It's super sturdy.
Okay.
These the frames they print in such a way that they're skeletal, so you're not printing a solid square piece, but there are enough holes in it that it takes less time to print, but they're very structurally sound. And then legs go underneath it that screw in, and they screw in beautifully. Like they get the margins on these things really, really well done. And then the tiles go on top of that, the rails go on the outside, and boom, you're ready to play.
Wow. So and I mean that's just like an extension of you've had the 3D printer, I think, for a while, right? And it's just like, well, what else can I make with this?
Yeah, and what's great about this is that the pieces you can't see, you can print those with whatever color of garbage filament you've got, right? Like, oh no, I'm down to my last little bit of this purple filament that I got for one thing that I'm never going to use again. Great. Part of the base will be purple, and people will never ever see it. So as long as you do the tiles and the rails in something consistent, then it doesn't matter what's underneath.
The only question I had about doing something like this is it one of those that when you add up the cost of all the materials,
all the filament,
did you just basically, could you have just gotten the table from some other site?
I could have. Well, not one of the really nice ones that I wanted to get. Those really nice custom-made wooden ones. And my wife is she's hesitant about those. I've shown her a bunch of them, and it's like until we got to the ones that were like 10, 15,000, that's when she said, oh yeah, now that I'd be fine having in the house. So way less, it costs way less for me to print than 10,000. It's probably for the table I'm making, it's probably filament wise going to end up being about $250, $300.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. 30, I'm averaging about $30 a roll. I'm not counting printing time because I print it in between, work projects and if I need to print something for a customer. But like 5, 6, between 5 and 8 rolls of filament for this thing.
Do you use filament spools to build the legs? That's the rest of
that would have been
know.
what a missed opportunity for these guys, right? Like the filament, the spools, the empty spools, perfect. Would have been perfect for that. Yeah.
You just get like an IKEA leg and then just stick it down in
just
between.
Stick it through a spindle. Yeah. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity from these guys for sure. Use the filament spool, the empty filament spool somehow in this process, just so you can really make it a 0 footprint obligation. But yeah, these things are cool. Really cool setup.
Was the going back to the painting? Taking that step from okay, I'm playing these games to I want to paint minis. Was that just a natural, like, because I know you're a very creative person. Was it just like I just want to express that in a new way, or what got you into that?
These were the very first minis I've ever painted, and of course, being a Marvel fanboy, an admitted Marvel fanboy, this was kind of like the perfect segue into getting me to paint minis. Is the Marvel United stuff. I had the entire starter box painted before I was even able to talk my wife into playing the game. She likes it now. Like we can play some Marvel United. And she's like, I'll do Valkyrie this time, or I'll do, Captain America or Captain Marvel or Howard the Duck or something like that. Actually, we haven't played Howard the Duck. I still need that one. I do still need to paint. I'm excited to do that one. But I would have been happy just getting the pieces without the game and painting them all, because I've, love the zen, the feeling of like, okay, there's nothing else on my to-do list right now but painting this thing, and you just get totally immersed in what you're doing. It's a very I said zen, I'm going to say it again, a very zen experience.
It's your moment of zen.
Exactly. Yes.
So would you say Marvel United your favorite game, or what would you consider your favorite game?
Favorite tabletop game. Ooh, that's good. That's a good question. Yeah, right now, just because of the variety and all the different expansions and things, I would say Marvel United's my current favorite tabletop game.
If you didn't have so much invested in Marvel United, I would recommend Marvel Champions. But
I do have that.
The card game from Fantasy Flight.
Game.
I love that game,
and that's a good solo experience too.
Yeah.
Like that's a great aspect of that thing.
Yeah. That was my. I had already bought in a whole bunch of that when the first Kickstarter came out, and it's like, but I already have like this other game that's kind of filling that niche. And it's like, I got to limit what I'm buying, and I don't need multiple or a huge amount of Marvel games where I can play each individual character. Especially because it's Marvel United, you don't really use the mini. It's more of just like a placement marker kind of thing. It is more of a card game.
It is. It's absolutely a card game, and I was into the whole the Marvel versus games as well. And so when I saw Champions, I'm like, oh, well, okay, that feels like the next level of this sort of thing, a full on deck builder kind of game.
So you said you got the Marvel Zombies game coming.
I did, yeah, and I've heard a lot about Zombicide, about people raving about the original.
It's good. I played a version of the zombies at Gen Con last year, and it was like, oh man,
Great.
What have I done? What have I?
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to finally get into that after hearing so much about Zombicide.
And it got me even thinking because they're coming out with two versions of Marvel Zombies. One you can already get in stores, which is the cheaper kind of Walmart version that has it's like you get the characters as minis, but all the zombies are like standees and stuff. And I was like, I have all those because I have Zombicide Black Plague, and I've painted it all. I've only played it maybe like twice. And I'm like, what if I just buy the cheap one just to get the hero minis, and then I'll just use all my zombies from the other game?
Might as well, yeah. You won't get the zombie versions of Spider-Man.
I won't get like the zombie hero versions. I think you get one. I think there's like I think you get like Zombicide Scarlet Witch or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't spring for the massive Galactus.
Oh, you didn't?
Version? No, that was a little too expensive. And I don't need freaking Galactus.
You have some willpower.
Yeah, exactly. We finally saw what the limit of Brian's Marvel fandom is, and it's not spending money on $150 Galactus or whatever it ended up being.
Well, if you ever want to play, if you ever want to get into some other minis games, have you seen Marvel Crisis Protocol?
Well, okay. Admittedly, I have that too. Yeah. I guess let's get all these out of the way. What was that card? There was another Dice Masters.
Marvel
Dice Masters.
Yeah.
Picked up that one too. Crisis Protocol. A friend of mine got me the starter box as a gift, and that one I actually have all of the characters painted and have never played a single second
in
of that
true
game.
Tabletop fashion. That is That is Chris Renshaw approved.
Is it really? Okay, good. I also don't have, I think I've got one of the cars painted and part of the newspaper stand painted in
that's
one.
the cool, that game, the coolest part is the terrain stuff that comes with it.
It really is. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that you can like throw, like, you know, Hulk can pick up a piece of terrain and throw it at like Iron Man and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And using the, as opposed to like, how many spaces can you move? It's like, no, you've got rulers in there like a true, you know, modern tabletop game with they can travel exactly this far as this bar will go. Like,
Yeah.
40K, I think does that as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to think, have I forgot to mention any other Marvel tabletop
Well,
games
they just
that I've gotten
have,
suckered into buying?
have you seen that there's a new one that they just are coming out with this month, and it's Marvel Dagger?
No. Oh no, I haven't even heard about it. All right. Tell me, where am I spending my money now?
This is another Fantasy Flight one. This is I don't know, Philip. We had the guy on the show that did Hoop Gods.
Oh, yep. Okay, I remember him.
He's doing this game. Yeah, Marvel. I'm trying to find the like homepage.
Right
oh,
now.
here we go. Yeah.
Omari Akil.
Amari Akil. Yes, I went brain dead and couldn't remember.
Oh wow, that looks sharp. Jeez.
But I think this one won't break your bank.
No, little standees. That's fine. Yeah, this one I'm okay. This one I'm okay waiting on. Just because there's no little minis for me to paint, so that's good. And talking the wife into playing this, maybe a tall order after.
It's got the custom dice.
Oh, look at that!
Yep,
yeah, all right.
The standard FFG dice.
Oh yeah, what was that other one I had? There was not before Dice Masters. It was the one where you got like dice and chase cards. Oh, what the heck was that?
Dice Throne.
Dice Throne. Oh, that's it. Dice Throne is the one I Kickstarter backed. Dice Masters is the one from a few years ago.
Yes,
that I picked up a bunch of.
Yeah, Dice Masters was like the kind of like CCG type version. I think it's still going. Where you just buy, it was like $1.99 booster packs that had like a couple of die and characters in it.
Exactly. Yeah, all 6-sided dice. Yep. Yeah. Maybe I've invested. Maybe Marvel owes me a little money. Maybe I need to
you just need to own stock in Marvel. There, you're in Disney. There you go.
Right. Exactly. Oh, too funny.
But outside of Marvel, you mentioned you'd done like Gloomhaven, a couple campaigns of Gloomhaven.
Yeah. Oh, enjoyed that a lot. That that is your boy collaborative strategy times 10 for me. I feel like that is the and aside from playing D&D, which I have an online Discord-based D&D group that gets together regularly, but Gloomhaven feels like you've got to kind of crank that up to 100 and just say, okay, you need to go around the back of this guy and attack him, and while he's not facing us, he's more vulnerable to this kind of attack, which this guy needs to do. It is you've really got to think so many moves ahead with Gloomhaven. And
Philip, I now realize why we didn't do well at Gloomhaven.
Yeah, it's a beast.
But did you say you had a couple campaigns?
We got a couple campaigns into it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Haven't come back to it. My wife is like, yeah, Tina's like, I don't think I want to play Gloomhaven anymore, because it basically, we spent maybe we got, I think, 6 campaigns or 6
adventures or
6 adventures in. Yeah. And it was that 6th one that we spent an entire noon till about 6 doing over and over, because we all kept dying. And it's like, what are we doing wrong? What do we need to figure out here? She's like, yeah, I think I'm done. I'm done. Gloomhaven down. So if anyone wants to buy a slightly used Gloomhaven,
been there, done that.
Yeah, let me know. You'll pay for the semi that hauls it out to you.
Yeah, it's like, and I had even gotten the Gloomhaven insert and everything, and
Did you to separate everything out?
it was just like I think once they made the campaign available on the app or on the Steam version, I was like, that's really, if I'm ever gonna play this, it's gonna be there.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Because then it's like, if you screw up, it's like, boop, one button and the thing resets.
Yes, right, exactly. As opposed to, all right, how many pieces of this guy do we need?
Yeah.
Okay, what reset the counter for this?
And you got to shuffle the decks again.
Yes. Oh yeah.
We drew the thing that has to get shuffled back in.
Yep. I'll keep my copy of Jaws of the Lion, but
Right.
I think you had 40 that original 60, 80, whatever, $100 Gloomhaven box.
Depends
whatever
on when you bought it.
Yeah, I think it was part of the original Kickstarter. I think get early bird though.
Yeah, I want to say like the original Kickstarter was like $80 to $100, and now it's like $150, $160.
Yeah.
I feel like
it was definitely
that sounds about
one. Wow.
the way back in it was probably 2016 then. If it came
2015, 16, yeah, something like that.
If it came out in 17, it was probably 15 or 16 when it kickstarted.
I'll take a look here.
2017.
Second printing. So I get the second printing in 2017.
Okay. Gotcha.
$99.
What a bargain.
What a bargain. Me and 40,641 others got the second printing. Jeez.
Hold on. Just for reference, how much does it cost on Amazon right now?
Oh, jeez.
I'm just curious.
You
can get it on Amazon for, looks like $119.99.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Well, I think it's time to put your board game knowledge to the test here. In fact, that you don't really need to have any knowledge whatsoever. So it's been a busy week, as you could tell if you were here with the stream and all the difficulties we were having there. So I had to come up with a game show quick. So I went with a a Chris Renshaw favorite at least, and we're playing The Rank is Right here.
All right.
Good deal. All right.
For the way this works is we've already showcased, we've had on the screen here before, boardgamegeek.com. Great website. Lots of information, lots of games. And there's a really cool feature if you go into the Board Game Geek called Random Game. And so what I've done is I've come up with 5 random games. I've went through 5 different times till I could get a game that had a rank on BGG. I'm going to read you the name, the description, any of the information, if it's got a rank in like a subcategory, whatever, and then you two are going to have to Price is Right style guess what the actual Board Game Geek rank is. So
without going over. Yeah,
it used to get weird because you're wanting to be closer to 1, but it got too confusing, so you're just like, screw it, without going over. It just makes it easy.
Sounds good.
So, Philip, you're gonna start since you're the host here.
Okay. All
right. So the first game, and I literally made this while I came up with these games while I was waiting at Sheets for food. So I don't have them nicely put in the PowerPoint with the ranking scrubbed out. So I'll show you the game after we've done the guesses. But the first game we've got here is Grand National Derby, which was apparently re-implemented by Colossal Arena. This game came out in 1996. This is the precursor to Titan the Arena, later known as Colossal Arena, and Galaxy the Dark Ages, which you would never guess when you look at the picture. The theme is horses racing in a steeplechase. I want to know how they get Galaxy the Dark Ages out of that, but each round represents a fence that the horse must jump. Players bet and then place speed cards on each horse. When all the horses have a speed card on them, the one with the lowest speed card is eliminated. When there are 3 horses left, the players are paid for their bets on the surviving horses. Each earlier bets are worth more. So this is a strategy game. It was actually designed by Reiner Knizia. So this is actually like a good designer designing trash game. So 2 to 5 players, age of 10 and up, 30 minutes to play, 1.71 out of 5 on the weight, and a 6.4 geek rating. In the strategy category, it has strategy category, in the subcategory, its ranking is 2,438. Just to give you a reference. So, what is its overall ranking?
Overall BGG,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 9183.
9183. All right. Brian, what do you think?
Wow.
And keep in mind the rankings go as high as like 20,000.
I was going to say, yeah. And I'm going to go higher than that. I was afraid you were going to ask me how much it cost when it originally came out. I was like, all right, well, how many dollar does it come out with money, or is it? All right, I'm going to say 12,345.
12,345. All right. We have here.
That's a combination of my luggage.
That's my password.
As I posted in here, you'll see that the actual ranking is, you both just kind of danced around it, 11,405. So you were that was actually really close. You were both on like either side of it, but that's a point.
Too bad.
That's a point to Philip. So that means Philip, you gotta keep going first here.
Gotta keep the momentum. All right.
You got to keep the momentum going. This next one is called Rapa Nui. It's a 2020 game. It's got a 7.0 geek rating, designed by Fabrice Besson and Guillaume Montague. I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong. Published like Matago. Between the 13th and 17th century, more than 900 monumental statues, moai, were erected on the Polynesian island of Rapa Nui, also called Easter Island. Become a powerful tribal chief of Easter Island and gather tribe members to best serve your village and please the gods. Carve, transport, and erect moai to gather resources and turn these into offerings to honor your ancestors and secure your spiritual and political prowess. So, like I said, 7.0 came out in 2020, 2 to 4 players and 45 minutes. There is not a subcategory though, but it was it did re-implement the game Giants, if that helps at all.
Okay. I don't know. I just keep hearing you say Rapa Nui, and all I can think of is that Lego Matanui.
Oh yeah, for
the little hero
Bionicle
things with the Bionicle. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so no subcategory ranking.
Nope.
All right, so BGG ranking 2020 Easter Island statues. Let's just go with 10,000.
10,000. Okay.
Oh wow. I'm thinking since it's newer, I'm going to go lower than that. I'm going to say 6428.
6428.
6428.
All right. So I went ahead and actually copied it ahead of time so that I could just post it.
There we go.
Thinking on my feet. The actual category is 7,110. So Brian Ibbott Ibbott for this time, really close.
Wow. Cool. Oh, look at that. They got little Devo hats.
Yeah.
Little Easter Island hats with Devo are we not men? We are Devo hats. I love it.
All right. Now, I promise this was all random, all right? I did not influence
Marvel what?
No, it's not.
Either Marvel or Munchkin.
It's Warhammer.
Oh, it's Warhammer. Okay.
So Warhammer Underworld's Dire Chasm. So they or Dire Chasm, I guess would be the right way to say it. So every year they come out with this Warhammer Underworlds. It's basically like imagine it's almost kind of like Marvel United, but for Warhammer, where like the mini is just like a placement, but you're actually the most of the game is a card playing kind of mechanic. But this is a box that came out in This was their seasonal box that came out in 2020. Amazingly, it doesn't have a subcategory rank, which I find weird because I would imagined it would have. So Warhammer Underworld's Dire Chasm, it's got a 7.9 on BGG. 3.0 out of 5 on weight, 2 players, 30 to 60 minutes. In the shadow of a living mountain, two warbands clash to see which one will be the hunter and which one will be the vanquished. While they make both have come to Beastgrave while they may both have come to Beastgrave, there's a typo there, with different goals in mind, now they simply fight for survival and glory within dire chasm. So, all right, Brian, you won last time, so you get to go first this time.
To open the bidding?
Yep.
All right. Well, Warhammer, only 3 years old. I think it's going to be a fairly low ranking. I'm going to even say it's under 1,000. I'm going to go 864.
Ooh. Below 1,000. All right. Philip, what you got?
I'm gonna go with 865, Bob.
$1. Smart play.
As I'm over here.
If it's 864, I'm logging off.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
you
go
kind
buy a
of
lottery ticket.
you kind of overshot a little bit, but you're still underneath. It's 5,143.
Oh, I'm
Ooh,
surprised. Wow, geez, that's
Well,
That's a little
it's,
way
be-
there, man. For a
it's
Warhammer game?
because it's not the first version of it. It's like imagine like the most recent Magic set on Board Game Geek is not
Oh,
necessarily going to get rated. No one's you're not going to rate each individual box set. I'm guessing that's probably why.
Sure.
Because I do
Unless
know
it's Lord of
people
the Rings
that
version.
actually let's hold on. Because I know Shadespire was the original. Just because I'm curious now.
Yeah, for sure.
The original game was Warhammer Underworld Shadespire, and that one is below 1,000. So
Yeah,
there you
918,
go,
okay.
918.
Wow.
So you can take comfort in that.
I'll take comfort in that.
All right.
Amazon for 150. Is that 150 bucks?
If probably because it's out of print. Like this box is
Okay.
like $50, or these boxes are like it's just like a starter box thing, but it comes with like 4 to 6 minis, I think. It's I know people that love it, but it's for me, it's like I don't need another Warhammer game. All right, I'm gonna hope I'm saying this right. The next game is called Lucha Jefe.
King of the wrestlers, or the leader of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
5.8. This game came out in 2017. In Lucha Jefe, you're competing with another fight boss to see who can take home 3 championship belts first. Players will draft fighters from a starting pool of 8, each with different powers. They will know which of the 4 fighters their opponent has to choose from, but not which they're ultimately sending into the ring. Whoever has the highest strength will win the match unless their fighters' powers change who wins. This is a bluffing card game. It's got open drafting, 10 to 15 minutes. 1.5 out of 5 on the weight. So, Philip, you're up first here.
So drafting card game. Let's go with 9,000. Just 9,000.
9,000. All right. All right,
I'm gonna
Brian.
go a little lower. I'm gonna say 70. Oh, that just leaves a little bit of space between the two.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm gonna do it anyway. 71-23.
71-23.
Yeah, a little more sequential numbers.
All right. I think just because the difference is so wide, I'm gonna do an and that you guys all underbid just because of how
really?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
you need to go higher.
Oh, well, we all...
way underbid. Gotcha.
Okay, way underbid. Gotcha.
Let's
Okay.
just say that there are 5 numbers in this ranking.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So
Let's see. So I'll go
Philip,
again.
you start
let's
again.
Go with I'm gonna go with 16,000.
All right.
I will hold that same range underneath and say 1194. I'm sorry, 11,940.
Okay.
5 digits. Yeah.
940. All right.
Yeah.
As I do some copy and pasting over here, you can see Lucha Jefe is 19,528.
Almost at the end.
No kidding.
So Philip
Holy cow.
was close by, if margin wise.
Jeez. But we still ranked.
I'm intrigued though.
Phil's like, I'm gonna go get this game. Gray Fox Games. Philip, this might be an oddball stream.
This might be an oddball stream. Yeah, just like looking at the card.
Belts.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the card names. El Vacío.
El Amigo.
El Gallo.
El Alarde. El Burocrata. Oh, I love it. These are great.
The
Just as much fun to say as the game is to play, probably.
That's all that
yeah.
happened. Everybody was just like, it's too much fun to say.
Yeah.
All right, last one. So this one's worth all the points. We'll do.
All right.
We'll pull a great night and say, this one's worth 10 points here. This is Food Fight. Food Fight. This is a 2011 game. 6.1, 30 minutes to play, 2 to 6 players. From Cryptozoic Entertainment and Matt Hyra. In Food Fight, your favorite foods have gone to war. Draft glorious food warriors into your army and march them onto battlefields from Watermelonloo to Spaghettisburg. Battle morning, noon, and night across 3 meals. Food mascots lord over the mealtime chaos, searching for a new champion. But who will reign supreme? The most cunning, the most savage, or the most delicious?
Wow.
So
it is another card drafting
It is
game,
another card drafting game, hand management. Food theme is food, cooking, and it's in the humor category. If you couldn't figure that out, there are actually 2 subcategories to this game. So in the strategy category, it is 2,249. So it's not that far away from the Grand National Derby. In the family category, it's rated 1,884.
Wow.
So, Philip, I believe it is your turn on this one. What is the actual ranking for Food Fight?
I'm gonna go with 8,765.
8,765.
Yes.
All right, Brian.
All
What do you
right.
think?
Well, Cryptozoic and 2011, I'm going to say that it's going to be lower than that. Let's go Mile High, 5280 in honor of Denver.
All right. So this time you're both back to you're close.
Circling the drain, basically.
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, let's see.
So let me pull it up here. Your actual ranking is 7,042.
Oh, wow.
Which means
Yay.
that Philip was over, and that leads that Brian is our winner.
Thank God for those extra 10 points. Needed every bit of it. Awesome. Look at that. That looks like fun.
Oh, hold on. Now I'm looking at some of the pictures. Like, there's like, I gotta be honest. This looks like something that Scott would draw.
It totally does. Yeah.
Medic mustard, and there's like, what was that? It was a meatball with a Gatling gun.
Yeah, mean burrito.
Door
Dinner
gunner
roll.
dinner roll.
Oh, big bad bacon.
Grilled Jesus.
The flavor you'll savor from our savior.
Oh, I'm digging it.
These are great. Yeah, another one where the cards are probably the best part of the game.
Oh,
yeah.
Crunchy taco. The people's tacos.
Viva la dinner, you scum-sucking imperialist. Oh, that's awesome.
Battle with the bulge. It's just some overweight guy.
Oh, God, that's great.
All
Okay,
right.
that's great. Where can I get this? This is great.
Cryptozoic.
Right.
I bet it's out of print. You may have to go on eBay.
Right.
What's the Amazon shop now? Currently unavailable.
Oh. All right, and with that, that we have come to the end of our episode. So I'm gonna roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's going to wrap up our episode. If you want to check us out live, you got to go to boardsandswords.com/live. It's got the schedule and the links to all of our streaming channels.
So thank you, Brian Ibbott, for coming on the show. It was a blast. And let people know
my
how to
pleasure.
find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me for the morning stream at frogpants.com/TMS, or just look on YouTube for Scott Johnson. He's got an account there. He's got all our videos there. You'll find it there. And then Coverville you can find at, guess where, coverville.com. And tuck in, because there are nearly 1,500 episodes there waiting for you. But the best thing to do is find a band that you like, and then find an episode where I play covers of that band by independent artists.
Is there a search on the website by?
There is. Yeah, by everything. By cover story, by artist. You can even search for specific cover songs and find out if I've got them in my library versus even whether or not I've played them in a show.
Ooh. I expect nothing else from a distinguished podcast veteran like yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There are 5 versions of Baby Got Back.
Yep. And none of them good. No, I take that back. The Jonathan Colton one is the good one.
All right. Well, we like feedback, so send us some feedback. If there's other people you'd like to hear us talk to on the show, feedback at boardsandswords.com. You can also find us on facebook.com/boardsandswordspod. I promise we're not the other Boards and Swords at some cafe up in England. I had the name first, but they had the Facebook thing first. So, or instagram.com/boardsandswordschris. So with that, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. We'll be back next week with an oddball stream. So just come hang with us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then you go check out our Patreon. We mentioned that before, patreon.com/boardsandswords. So in the meantime, until next time, remember that every gamer has a story, and holy Jesus. Grilled cheeses, the flavor you'll savor. I can't. That's almost a tongue tire. The flavor you'll savor from our savor. Nope, I swapped them. I swapped them.
Uh-huh.
All right. Good night, everybody.